Matches Balone. Hey guys, Max Balone here, bringing you guys another DC Toy Box TV review. Today we're going to be looking at the DC Collectibles, DC Comics icons, Lex Luthor. So like always guys, before we get into actual figure review, I do want to talk about the packaging. Here we have the box. It is an open window box. You would get the Lex Luthor action figure with all his accessories surrounding him. You do get to read DC Comics. You do get the icons logo with the O doubling for the character's logo. DC Collectibles. On the side, you get the character's name, Lex Luthor. On top, you do get a stylized 8. On the side, you get the same stylized 8. Lex Luthor is actually the 8th figure in this toy line, and it is the 4th figure of Wave 2. We do get a Lex Luthor logo, DC Comics icons, Lex Luthor, Forever Evil, DC Collectibles. Forever Evil is the story where this character design is based off. On the back, you do get to see all of Wave 2 except for the deluxe Hal Jordan action figure. You get a close-up image for the rest of the figures in Wave 2. We get DC Comics, icons, sculptor, designer, and DC Comics once again. And that is pretty much it for packaging. I gotta say this figure is a pretty cool figure. He does have a total of 5 accessories. He has an extra pair of open hands. Again, these are designed like he could grip something. He doesn't really have anything to hold on, but it is sculpted in that fashion. He has an extra gauntlet piece where you kind of put this over his wrist, and this appears to be some type of blade that sticks out of his armor. So I think that's pretty cool. This is more of a white color. For whatever reason, it seems more of a light green right now through the camera. We do have a hand with some type of gold rod. If you guys haven't read Forever Evil, I do suggest you guys go read it. This is a very important part of that story. I'm not going to tell you what it is because it does deal with a bit of a plot twist within the story, but it is really cool that we get this a part of the Lex Luthor action figure. So, yeah. The last accessory he has is another hand. I'm not exactly sure what this is. I don't know if this is some type of projectile, if this is some type of shield, or if it is, a buzzsaw of some sort. Again, this is more of a white color. It does seem to look like a little bit of a light green right now through the camera, but it is more of a white. But we do see the hand sculpt right there, so it looks pretty cool. And all these extra hands, it is just a simple pull and push when it comes to the figures. You just pull this off and you put in the new one. He does have these close-fisted hands. That is pretty much the standard when it comes to DC Comics icons in general. But yeah, I gotta say the action figure is pretty cool. I do like the design of it. This does give that classic Lex Luthor just design language overall, but it's still the modern New 52 take on it, so it is pretty cool. He does have pretty much the same rotation as any of the other figures. The head normally does rotate left and right, and you could do it all the way around, but he does have a bit of a hindrance when it comes to this collar. You can already see right there. It is a very stiff figure, so even when you move it just this much, it is very stiff, and you're going to have to give it a little bit of push. But you can see right there that his collar is kind of touching the tip or at least the bottom half of his cheek right here, and his chin. So unfortunately, he's not able to rotate all the way to either side. I still think that is a pretty good and decent amount. It's not the best. These figures themselves already don't have that much of a regulation, so any type of limitation is unfortunately a downside. But again, because of the design of this character and this armor, it makes sense that he has that there. But it is unfortunate that this isn't a little bit softer to kind of give it a little bit of leeway. The arms, you could still move them outward. He does still have these type of like weird shoulder pads on top. But it is a little bit of a soft plastic. You know, you could already see right there. There is some room that you could move the arm all the way. I would keep in mind that even though it is soft plastic, it does go back to its form. This still is very, I guess, rigid or stiff. But I do wonder if after a while it might, it might end up ripping or just it might lose its form. So keep that in mind, guys. But you still do have the ability of moving your Lex Luthor arm that much up, and I still think that is a pretty good amount. It's not, you don't lose that much compared to the other DC Comics icons. He could still move forward and back, and again, you could rotate it all the way around if you guys like. He does have a swivel on his upper arm. Again, you know, it does rotate all the way around. You might hinder right here at the tip of his armor, but still good. He does have a double jointed elbow. Right there, you do have a swivel on his wrist, and he could move the hand inward and outward. It doesn't move outward too much because again, this gauntlet piece right here. He does have an ab crunch. This is as much forward as he wants to go in. It doesn't seem he wants to move any more forward, so it's not the greatest. This is still pretty bad compared to other DC Comics icons. They don't have the best ab crunch, but this is still ridiculously bad. I do think it might have something to do with this armor, but I'm not sure if this is the if these are the cuts for the for the ab crunch. He does a pretty good job of moving back. That is pretty much the same amount as other icons have it. He could rotate his upper chest. Again, these are stiff figures, so you are going to have to give it just a little bit of an extra push compared to other action figures. The legs, again, they still have the ability to move outward as much. This is a soft plastic, but just like the shoulder pieces, do keep in mind that after a while, these might not always want to go back to where they want. If you guys seen my Blue Beetle review, he has kind of like extra small plastic pieces on the side, and one of them is already starting not to kind of go back into his original form. So just keep that in mind, guys, that maybe after a while, these would start staying like this, or maybe worse, they might rip. The figure still can move his leg forward that much and back, but again, he does move outward instead of backward, so keep that in mind. The knees are like his elbows. They are double jointed. I do gotta say I like the design of this. This does look like to seem all one piece, like if it is a very tall boot, but it is a separate a separate mold. Here's the knee and here's the boot, so I definitely like that. This is a separate boot sculpt, so you do have a swivel right here in the calf cut area. Now the first time I was playing with this, I did believe that he didn't have any type of foot articulation, but it's just that this figure is extremely stiff, but he could still move the foot forward and back. Like I said, you just gotta really push at it. When he is in the back, he can swivel the foot side to side, so that's pretty good. And same thing in the front, you still have that ability. So just keep in mind, guys, when you guys open these toys, they are going to be extremely tough to move, but after a while they would become looser, and sometimes a little looser than what you would want. You can see right there he does a pretty great job at standing up on his own. The design of it, I do like it. It is a classic Lex Luthor color scheme, purple and green. I do feel like he does look a little simple. His Under Armour is pretty much just purple with some of these lines sculpted in, and then his actual outer armor is just pretty much a solid green, not too many sculpting designs. I do like these accent colors. Again, this is more of a white, but for whatever reason they do look a little light green on the camera. I do like that they kind of sculpt in these like different plates, if you will. But yeah, overall, I just think some of this, it just looks a little simple to me. I'm sure this is comic book accurate, so I'm not gonna gripe on that. This could have been the design the artist went with, and they're just translating it into an action figure. But just compared to other figures, he doesn't look that detailed. but he still looks good. You know, he still looks pretty great, pretty awesome. That his face, I think, you know, it's okay. You know, I don't think this guy's been getting the greatest expressions for these action figures, but still, the face still looks pretty good. He still looks human. You know, he doesn't look like some type of weird alien. You know, so I think that's pretty awesome. I would definitely recommend this action figure if you guys are a Lex Luthor fan, you know, a Superman fan, a DC Comics fan in general. I think these are great toys to buy. If you're an action figure fan, do keep in mind that these are, in general, just a little bit smaller. So if you're going to put them with other action figures, you know, they're going to look a little bit on the smaller side. For comparison, I do have the DC Comics Icons Black Adam. These are a part of the same wave. So for comparison, I also have the DC Comics Icons The Flash, and I have the DC Comics Icons Blue Beetle. And yeah, this is pretty much all of Wave 4. So if you guys are going to invest into this toy line and you're going to get multiple action figures, I think they do a pretty good job looking good next to each other. I think they are pretty accurate to scale. Lex Luthor and the Flash seem to be about the same height. Blue Beetle is, you know, a much scrawnier character, so he does look smaller than Lex Luthor with all that armor. But Black Adam, because he is a very muscular action figure, he does look overall bigger than Lex Luthor. So I do think they're pretty accurate when it comes to the scale of these characters. So yeah, that's pretty much all my thoughts on that. Like always, guys, comment down below. Tell me, guys, what do you guys think of the Lex Luthor action figure. Like the video if you like it, dislike it if you didn't, and subscribe. Laters.